Hello and welcome. Today we are picking back up on our Christian Apologetics series. We last left with looking into who the historical Jesus was. I talked about his life story and, as agreed upon by religious and non-religious sources, biblical and non-biblical sources, went over a few of his life events. You see, this Jesus person is the central figure of Christianity, as the name says, Jesus Christ. Therefore, he must have been pretty special for a whole religion to emerge from him and his life. So, what was so special? We went over his short bio in the last episode, but again, why so special in terms of compared to any other figure? I believe that it's always good to know a person by first finding out what they claim, what they believe, and what they say about themselves. So today, we will just explore the words of Jesus Christ. As you guessed, back then, there wasn't a Twitter feed we can just dig up, but we're in luck because there happens to be a book with some letters written by people who heard about him, who saw him, ate with him, sat with him, talked to him, walked with him. And so these people wrote down his words as they believed, as they knew that these words should and would change the world. What words am I talking about? Well, that's what's coming up. If it is your first time here, welcome. I'm happy you found us. My name is Gigi and I'm on a very exciting journey to wisdom and to better critical thinking. I invite you to join me on this journey as I share thoughts on faith, current events, social media topics, and random quick thoughts that make you and me just think better and be better. If that sounds good to you, subscribe today and let's do it together. This is the Christian Apologetics series where I show why believing in a creator and all-powerful God is not irrational. Quite the contrary, it's the most reasonable conclusion to arrive to. And if you have missed the previous episodes, I do recommend you pause this and catch up first. Okay, so like I mentioned, this series is mostly for non-believers and non-Christians. All are welcome, but especially my atheist friends. If you're unfamiliar with everything religion, everything Bible, and all that, you might also be unfamiliar with the biblical Jesus, as in the Jesus that is presented in the Bible. The Bible is the collection of books that tell the story of God and his people. It's a long story, and we'll definitely get to that story in time. But for today, let's focus on this Jesus person. We know that many people around the globe, around 2.4 billion people to be exact, believe in Jesus, follow him, and proclaim his name. 2.4 billion people is a lot of people. 2024 years is also a lot of years. It's a long while, so this is interesting. Either these people are onto something, or this is the biggest hoax of history. We will find out slowly in this series, but first, again, let's just explore what these people are interested in to begin with. We know that Jesus existed, but like I said, let's look at what he said specifically about himself to know exactly what people believe about him. I will go through a list of his words from what we call the New Testament Gospels found in the Bible, so follow it along with me. On the topic of who he is, right? It's his identity and position. In Matthew, we read, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me." Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age. In John chapter 6, we read, Then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. In John chapter 8, we read, When Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. In the same book, John chapter 14, we read, Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. John 15 says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. And in Revelation chapter 22, verse 13, we read, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. So that's about who he is. But what about what he came to do? What was his mission? We can read in Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, that he said, Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. In the same book of Matthew, chapter 20, verse 28, we see that he said, Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. In the book of Mark, we read, But I want you to know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins. In Luke 19, we read, For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. And finally, in John 10, Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. So we know what he said about his mission or what he came to do here, but what about us? What does that mean for us? Well, on the topic of our relationship to him or how we relate to him, we can read in Matthew, for example, chapter 11, verse 28, that reads, Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. We read later on, still in Matthew chapter 16, when he says, the verse says itself, but what about you? Which is the question that he asked. Who do you say that I am? And the person he was talking to, Simon Peter, answered, You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. In Luke chapter 9, we read, And he said, The Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests and the teachers of the law, and he must be killed and on the third day be raised to life. And in John 11, we read, Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Whew, that was a lot. Did you catch it all? It seems like this Jesus person claimed to be the Son of God. It seems like he's saying that he has some kind of authority over things and over people, and it seems like he's saying that he came to save us and take our burdens away or something. It sounds like he's saying that he can give us life or something. This might sound weird, right? Because we are alive, aren't we? How are we getting life if we are alive? And also, What does he even mean by Son of God? How does God have a son since God isn't human? And how can he even claim to have all this authority over us? Who gave him this authority and what does it mean? And the Gospels, who were these writers anyway? Who tells us that they didn't just make all of this up? And once again, I ask the question, why should we even believe any of it or take it seriously? Well, we will be answering all those questions in the upcoming episodes. I will stop here for today and give us all time to meditate on what we just read. They are available on screen, but of course, if you do have a Bible or if you want to use the internet, you can find all of these verses, all of these words to meditate on in preparation for the next episodes. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to let me know you're here, and see you very soon.